Welcome to the Mindset Game podcast. I'm very grateful and eager to speak with Sam Gonzalez Silva today. Sam is the nephew of Jose Silva, who is the creator of what's known as the Silva Method. And he has been involved with the Silva Method since the early 50s. In a moment, you're going to learn more about what that is and how it can help you to master your mindset and release limiting subconscious patterns from the past. As a youth, Sam worked in his Uncle Joe's radio and TV shop. He also participated in Jose Silva's research as a subject on some of his projects to demonstrate the power of the human mind. Sam has a master's degree in counseling and guidance. He served in the U.S. Air Force for 22 years and then went on to work in the Southern Nevada Adult Mental Health, where he served in several roles, including Director of Crisis Services and Director of Community Services. Throughout most of his life, Sam has applied his own unique approach to using Jose Silva's techniques to bring out the very best in himself and others. And he has been training individuals and groups in the techniques since 1980. And I'm very honored and privileged to have been trained by Sam in the Silva Ultramind Method, which you'll learn more about in a moment. It was an extraordinary experience, personally very valuable for me and for my clients, and I'm really excited for you to learn more. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy. Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
Would you be willing to start us off, if you don't mind, with just maybe sharing a little bit about how you got into this? I know I kind of gave the listeners a little bit of an introduction, but I'd love to hear more about your story and how you got into doing this type of work.
And it's true. I am Jose Silva's nephew, and I was one of his research subjects when I was 12 years old. He also taught me electronics when I was 12 years old. And so since then, I completed as I grew up, I practiced everything that he taught me. I did not learn the complete course at the time, of course, because he was doing his research, but I did practice what he was teaching me. So I've been meditating since I was 12. Also, because he taught me electronics, I thought that's what I wanted to be, was electrical engineering. And then I realized later in life that that was not my purpose in life. And my purpose in life turned out to be a psychologist. So when I switched to psychology, doors just opened up for me, where before doors were being closed in my face, and I could not follow my career in electronics. Kept on stopping me. But the minute I changed my mind, and or I got a sign from somebody saying you need to change, and I did, and doors opened up, and I completed all my education while in the Air Force, my bachelor's from University of Nebraska in Omaha, and my master's program from University of Northern Colorado. And yes, I did my practicum with Nevada Adult Mental Health, and they hired me before I retired from the Air Force. So I ended up spending 22 years in the Air Force, 26 years as a psychologist with mental health. And during all this time, while I worked as a psychologist, I used to travel on the weekends to teach the Silva Method and then the Silva Ultramind. I became an instructor in 1980, and I traveled all over the United States and almost all over Europe, teaching and training other instructors.
And what is the Silva Ultramind Method, if you don't mind sharing with us? Some of our viewers may have never heard it before.
The Silva Ultramind Method, keep in mind, well, Jose originally developed his first seminar, which was the Silva Method. He really wanted to teach people ESP. And ESP to the average common person means extrasensory perception. Jose, because of his research in that, came to realize that ESP is a function of the right hemisphere of the brain. And thereby, since everybody has the right hemisphere of the brain, he didn't find that there was anything extra about it. But he did realize that if people do not use it effectively, then they don't have it, okay? They can use it. So he changes to effective sensory projection. And that's what he learned through his research. So in 1964, when he developed his first method, he really wanted to teach people ESP, how to further develop the right brain hemisphere, And he came to realize that he couldn't do that because how many people back in 64 would have attended his class if he says, I'm going to teach you ESP? Not too many, because people were afraid of ESP, okay? So he decided to put into his method self-improvement things like sleep control, weight control, dream control. Those kind of things are normal, natural things that everybody has, everybody does. And he knew that. So he knew that they were going to develop it because they already had it, okay? And then once he got their attention, then he taught them a small portion of the ESP. 30 years later, with that in his mind that he still wanted to teach people ESP, he developed the Silva Ultramind. And the Silva Ultramind, he developed new techniques for the Silva Ultramind. And he came to realize that, or because of the development of that it really helped people become very effective in their intuition. Okay. And by then, people didn't mind. There was more things in the news and research and all that about ESP that people were beginning to feel more comfortable. Now, what made his class so popular is because, excuse me, because of his research never stopped. So the first 20 years was for the first system that he developed. The next 30 years was where he developed the Ultramind, okay? So he added on his research. He continued his research. He himself learned more and all that. So he developed the Ultramind. And the reason he was able to do all that and people would benefit from it and became so popular was because really all we do is teach people, guide people, and teach them how to use the right brain hemisphere. So when a person presents themselves to us, they have all the equipment. All we have to do is guide them, okay? And start changing some of the belief systems that they have created in time in their lives. Because another thing to keep in mind is that education is directed to developing your left brain hemisphere. Okay? And I can go into that.
Yes, please. Because I think some of our listeners might not yet be familiar with what is the difference between the left and the right hemisphere. And of course, how any of that impacts our, beliefs that ultimately create our reality. Would you be willing to share a little bit more about that, about how our beliefs create our reality and how the brain is, impacted by our beliefs?
Absolutely. But let me first explain about the brain hemispheres.
Please.
The brain, we have two hemispheres of the brain, the left and the right. The left hemisphere controls the right side of your body, and it's also the seat of your conscious mind. It is logical and analytical. It wants details. It asks why, and it keeps you oriented to the physical world. So when we go to school, our education system keeps us tuned in to the left brain hemisphere only, okay? Because they teach you math, they teach you all logical stuff. So the left brain hemisphere continues to develop, okay, and keep on developing. Now the right brain hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and it is the seat of your subconscious mind. It's a storehouse for all information, and what I mean by that is everything that you have experienced in your life is stored in the right brain hemisphere. The brain is a computer, and even this computer has a hard drive. And everything is downloaded into the right brain hemisphere. Every experience you've had in your life. So it is also the intuitive. It responds to colors, music, and patterns, allows you to use your spiritual energy. We have two energies. We have a physical energy that's controlled by the left hemisphere of the brain, and a spiritual energy that's controlled by the right hemisphere of the brain, okay? But When we go to school, they don't teach us how to use the right brain in our country, in our system. I'm not talking about other areas of the world, but in our system, okay? So you further develop the left brain hemisphere and you keep the right brain hemisphere, you stifle it, in other words. It's not dead, it's there. Because if it were dead, you wouldn't be here today. You'd be dead. Okay? So since all we have to do is guide people how to use it, okay, then it becomes really a simple matter. And how do we do it? By meditation. And then to follow it, to learn the techniques that Jose developed. Took him 50 years to develop this method, okay? Continuing with research. So everything he put it together because he knew it was going to work for everybody, not just certain people, like other methods that are out there. They work for some people, not for other people. And the reason this one works for everybody is because you have a right brain hemisphere and we guide you how to teach it. It's that simple, very simple. Okay.
And so,
that part.
This is actually really helpful to understand that because I think a lot of people kind of intuitively know that there is something that perhaps is guiding them. I know there's also a lot of research now out of the Institute of Heart Math around our heart's intuitive guidance. We now actually have research around non-local intuition and the fact that our heart is connected to something beyond time and space. And so this is as you know, a podcast about mindset, about belief systems. And I know that our listeners are really curious about how we create these belief systems and how they impact our life.
Okay, let's get into that, how we create this belief system, okay? Harvard University did a research, and they stated that when children are born, the majority, the normal, the average, they're geniuses. From birth to age 4, they are geniuses, okay? And truly, stop and think. Look at everything they learn from birth to age 4. They learn to crawl, they learn to crawl, they learn to walk, they learn to talk, they learn how to develop their survival mechanisms, okay? They know if they cry, you're gonna feed them, or if they cry, you're gonna change their diaper. So those are part of their survival mechanism. So they learn as they go along, okay? Unfortunately, by age 8, 25% of the children lose that ability of being a genius. By age 12, 50% lose it. By age 16, 75% lose it. And by age 20, only 5% maintain it. And thereafter, only 2 to 3% maintain it. Now that's pretty sad that we're born geniuses and we get dumber as the years go by, okay? However, what they also said was that it had nothing to do with Mother Nature. It had to do with nurturing, okay? What your parents teach you. Because when you first things you have in your life are your parents. And your parents, to every child, is like talking to God, you know? That's who they are. So everything they say, we believe, we accept, we follow through. And if they have bad belief systems, then they're going to fall on us. Now, by age 8, we're already playing with neighbors, kids, other kids, listening, realizing their parents are also available, and we learn from them. And by that time, we're also going to school. So now we learn from a lot of kids, and from the teachers, okay? And we develop those negative habits, negative belief systems, okay? So that's where the negative belief systems come in. And we need to eliminate those. And that's the one thing that we do practice in class, okay? So, we start out, go ahead.
I want to kind of pause there. And there's some people that might be listening to this and saying, come on, really? I mean, if I had a belief since I was little, maybe that I'm not good enough at something, or, that something is not available to me. I mean, really, is that something that we can change? And how would you respond to that?
Absolutely. You can change it. Absolutely. But you have to be in the right state of mind to do that. You can't just tell yourself, affirmations are good. Okay. However, people do not follow their affirmations until they make changes. They kind of start out really good. It's just like a New Year's resolution, right? Everybody starts real strong, and then 5 days after, 2 weeks into the New Year's, nothing's happening. I change it. Okay. I used to smoke. I smoked for 32 years. Okay. I stopped smoking 38 years ago. And I told myself that come New Year's, when I woke up New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I would stop smoking, never smoke again in my life. And I smoked all the way through. And I used to smoke almost 2 packs a day. I was a Marlboro man. Okay. And so when I woke up, I continued with my affirmations, okay, before New Year's Day. And when I woke up New Year's Day, I went out partying New Year's Eve. I smoked my usual smoke, never slowed down, never did anything. And when I woke up New Year's Day, I never smoked again. And that was 38 years ago.
Wow. How do you explain that?
I followed my affirmations, but I told my affirmations while I was at the right state of mind. And the right state of mind, the brain, if you look at this chart right here, the brain produces 4 major brain rhythms, okay? The green area is where you meditate. The blue area is the physical world. So you want to learn to go to the green area. Once you place yourself in the green area mentally, you are in the right state of mind.
And for those people who are not able to see the image behind you, would you be willing to describe it? What are we seeing?
It's a chart that Jose developed to explain how the brain functions and how the brain produces the 4 major brain rhythms. Okay. What I'll do is I don't have it with me right now, but I can send you a copy of it, or anybody that's interested in learning more about this chart. All they have to do is, and at the end, I'll give them my email and all that for people to contact me. If they contact me, I'll send them a copy of this chart.
Thank you.
And with an explanation as to how it works, the chart, okay, the brain works.
Thank you. And I know, because I'm seeing it, that there are kind of 4 different levels of relaxation, if we can describe it as that. And so I think the story that you shared around, stopping to smoke just like that got attention from a lot of people who have habits from many years that they've tried to change over and over and were not able to do successfully. So you said it's about saying your affirmations in the right state. And so if you can describe a little bit more as to what that state is, describe to us, and how might we access that state?
Okay. It's really, really simple. Everything's simple if we keep it simple. We complicate the heck out of things, okay, as human beings. So at the beginning of the class, the first hour of the class is like an introduction. And we explain the chart, how it works, about the right hemisphere, left hemisphere, et cetera, okay? But then before we get too deep into the seminar, we do some what we call mental house cleaning. Okay? And mental house cleaning, we introduce affirmations such as better and better, cancel, desire, belief, and expectancy. Now, the better and better deals with your health, but you have to say it all the time. Okay. Now, people forget to say that. Okay? Now, there's something that was actually developed by Dr. Emile Coué from France, but Jose, in his research, saw it, realized it was effective, and put it in his class. Okay.
And what is that affirmation exactly, if you don't mind, for people who are not yet familiar?
The way Milky Way put it was, every day in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. And he told his patients to repeat that every day, every time they had a chance to repeat it. Every day in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. Now, Jose realized that people are not going to follow affirmation. A majority of people, they start strong and then they kind of fizzle out. Okay. So he thought, okay, how can we put a triggering mechanism there for them not to forget to say it? So we tell our students from today forward and for the rest of your life, when people ask you, how are you? Because let's face it, when people ask us, how are we? Do they really mean it? No, they could care less. It's just a form of saying hello, So what you do is when they say, how are you? You say better and better. And you'll be surprised the answers they get, because they're shocked. They don't expect to hear that. They expect to hear, oh, fine, oh, good, okay, the usual. So when you say better and better, and I've had this experience, and I say it every time. So somebody asks me, like at the grocery store, every time I go to the grocery store, they always say, how are you? Okay? At least here in Las Vegas, they do. And I say better and better. And some of the answers I get is good, good, or great, great. I guess because I say better and better, they have to say great, great, good, good. And I've also had where they say, that's good. I like that. Can I use it? Sure, use it, So there's a triggering part to remind you to use it. Then I follow it was by every day in every way. Because the better and better is for my health. And then the every day in every way is for everything else in my life.
And as we say that, who's hearing that? If that makes sense. People who've never done affirmations before might be, or who have, might be, okay, what actually happens when I say that, when I tune into that energy?
You're convincing your brain that you're getting better. And if you convince your brain that you're getting better, it's going to go to work. And keep in mind that the hierarchy of the control is your mind, then your brain, then your body. So if your mind, you're saying better and better, your brain says, oh, we need to get better and better. So they trigger the immune mechanism to heal your body.
Is it like the placebo effect? Is that what you're referring to?
It's like a placebo effect, but you're in essence, you're putting your immune mechanism to work. Okay.
And is this only used for health or for all things? Like, let's say if I'm about to do a presentation and I start to doubt myself, is it helpful to kind of say to myself, I'm getting better and better every day in every way? Would that help me?
No, that's where the other part comes in. Remember I said better and better, cancel, cancel. That's where the cancel comes in. When you start doubting yourself, cancel. Of course I can do it, and of course I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that
there's more to it. There's more to the mental house cleaning than just better and better. So it's better and better, cancel, and then we have desire, belief, and expectancy. What do you desire in life? What do you believe you can do and cannot do? And this is where people say, well, just because we tell the kids, oh, you can't do that, that's not going to affect them. It is. It affects their belief system about what they can do or cannot do. I remember my daughter, when she was about 3, she wanted to fry an egg. She said, I'm going to fry an egg. Now, normally we say, you can't do it, right? But that's not what we mean. What we really mean is, I don't want you to hurt yourself. Let me help you. That's what should come out of our mouth, not you can't do it. You can't. Get rid of the word can't, okay? You can do anything you so desire.
And so
that's where desire comes in.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, so grateful that you're sharing this, because I think a lot of people doubt themselves often, and sometimes they're not even conscious of the I can'ts. But once we become conscious that, oh, right, I'm doubting myself, or there's some negative interpretation of something that's going on, what I'm hearing is then at that point, we say to ourselves, not necessarily out loud, we can say, cancel that thought. And what actually happens when we say that to ourselves? What difference does that make?
You start developing a belief system in yourself, changing your belief system. Okay. Keep in mind that the brain does not distinguish between what actually happened to you in the physical world or what you imagine using imagination and visualization. Okay. The brain takes both of them as being it. That's it. That's what happened. Okay. Cannot distinguish the fact that you're making it up or that is a true fact. So if your parents say, or if you feel I can't do that, I can do that, then visualize yourself doing it. Now you change things.
And are we actually and are we actually making changes in the brain when we do that?
Yes, you are. Let me tell you one thing happened to me. When I joined the military, I went from Laredo, Texas, which is like weather like Las Vegas, to San Antonio, Texas, which nothing has changed, only 150 miles due north. From there, I went to Scottsdale, Illinois, which is close to St. Louis, Missouri. Okay? I personally had never experienced snow in my life. I had no idea what snow was, other than what I saw in the movies. Okay, so that's there, what I saw in the movies. And snow is cold, based on the way people dress and all that. It's cold, you know. So when we landed in Scottsdale, Illinois, there was snow. There was about 4 feet of snow. Okay, and I looked at the window from the airplane. I almost froze to death, and I was still inside the airplane. But my imagination took over, right? My imagination took over. Once I got out and all that, I realized it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Well, we kept on with our basic training. And one day we were marching and it started to rain. And of course, we're in the military now. You know, just because it rains, you're not going to melt. So we keep on marching, right? 3 days later, I caught a cold. Nobody else caught a cold. We lived in open bay barracks. There were 54 GIs in the barrack. I was the only one that caught a cold. All of us got caught in the rain. So my thought was, well, they're from Chicago. They're from, they're New York. They're from all that. I'm from Laredo, Texas. Okay. And then I thought to myself, no, that's not true. So I remembered Jose telling me to meditate when I wanted to solve problems. So I meditated, and while I was in my meditative state of mind, I asked, why did I catch a cold? And no sooner did I ask that when this picture came to me, like Vista Vision. I was about 5 years old, back home, and it was raining, and I wanted to go outside and play in the rain. And my mother said, you do not go out in the rain without a raincoat or you catch a cold.
Oh, wow.
That's programming, guys. That's programming, okay? Everything our parents have told us is here. And again, who's God? My mom, right? She's the highest authority in my life at that point. So why would she lie to me? And remember, children don't lie. They're not born prejudiced. They're not born lying. They tell it like it is. We teach them to lie because they embarrass us when they tell the truth. And we say, you don't say that. Why not? It's the truth. So we teach them to lie. So what I did was I reprogrammed that. I visualized myself going out to play in the rain, and my mother saying, have a good time. And I went out, I jumped in puddles, I opened my mouth to catch the rain, drink the rain and all that. Had a good time. Came back in, and my mother's waiting for me with a towel, and she said, dry yourself up, I don't want you to make a mess in the house. Never mention cold again. I have not caught a cold since then. I've been out in the rain many times, but I changed the program. I've never caught a cold again.
So are you saying to our listeners that if they had an event in the past where they heard something or experienced something that wasn't favorable, that's not serving them now, that they can actually, in their imagination, recreate that event in a more positive way with the outcome that they desire, and that actually has an effect on their current reality?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I use another in class, in the regular class. I use when dad comes home and mom's watching TV and the son is in the living room playing with his toys. He's about 6 years old. And, we don't give children the credit they deserve. They're geniuses. Harvard proved that. They're geniuses, okay? We just don't give them that credit. We think, what do they know? Okay. So dad comes home and says to his wife, did you see on TV about the airplane crash? It crashed, it bursted into flames. People were burnt to death. Can you imagine what a horrible death that is? Now keep in mind, this child is listening, right? And while when we listen to something, what do? We form a picture in our brain of what you're telling us. That child is forming a picture. Okay, now keep in mind, this child has super creative imagination, something we left behind at age 12, and I go into that also in class. Okay? We need to regain that. Okay? Need to regain that. So now the child grows up, goes to college, becomes a computer engineer, top of his class, gets an excellent contract for work, and he turns it down. Why does he turn down? Because he has to fly to different cities once every month. And he is afraid of flying. He doesn't realize why. But it all goes back to what happened that day when dad came home. Okay. And stop and think, why would he be afraid of flying? He's never flown before. Okay. And people say, oh, because he hasn't experienced it, something new. Okay, it could be. But there's also something else in the fact that it's all here in the right hemisphere, everything that we have experienced, and it doesn't matter whether it was something that we experienced physically or mentally, it's still here. So we have to change that.
So how do we shift these unconscious belief patterns? I know you've talked a little bit about visualizing and changing past events through our imagination and the brain thinking that's real. So that's doing something. What else can we do? How can we change these things?
With a cancel, cancel, and say, and just change your attitude about things. It's all an attitude change. It's really that simple. But people complicate it and say, now how can I change my attitude? Even if something happened to you, okay, truly happened, okay, all you have to do is change your attitude about the effects that it took on you at that time. It's like stress. Just because something is stressful for one person, it doesn't mean it's stressful for the rest of the world. Stress comes from within. What can you cope with and what can you not cope with? It's a coping mechanism. And you either eliminate stress, and how are you going to eliminate the stress? By changing your attitude and getting the attitude of, you know what? It's not worth it. It doesn't matter. I can do it. And that's really all it takes. But people have a difficult time changing their attitude about things.
So what if we're not even conscious of our attitude? So I get that, the moment we have some limiting thought, we can, say to ourselves, just cancel, and imagine the way we want things to be. But what if we're not even conscious of those thoughts?
Here's where you have to learn to meditate, to reach this level of the brain. Okay. So you can bring out, okay. When you meditate, you basically become centered. Right now, we're in the physical world. We're talking the physical world. We're dealing strictly with the left brain hemisphere. Okay, strictly. Once we meditate, learn to meditate, and we get to the meditative state of mind, now this side pops up, and now we have both of them. It's not that you go to this side instead of this side. No, you're centered now. You have control of both hemispheres of the brain. And that's where you make changes. So you have to learn to meditate. And that's the first thing we teach in class.
And I'm so grateful that you're going to give our listeners an opportunity to experience that, because some people have never meditated before, or never, tried and didn't quite work for them. They had too many thoughts going through their mind. That's often something I hear. Would you be willing to give us a little bit of an experience of that?
Absolutely. I'm gonna give you a small, just short meditation, okay? And then I'm gonna direct you to go to www.silvaultramind.com, okay? And while you're there, you go to the seminar, not seminars, you go to talk about, hold on one second. Mm-hmm. You click on Silva Ultramind Systems, and then you click on Silva Center and Exercise, and you listen to that exercise, okay? Now, it took Jose 20 years to develop this particular exercise, where it's going to work for everybody, okay? And if you listen to this exercise, a minimum of once a day, during the day, in a straight sitting position with your eyes closed, you start to benefit from it just by listening to the exercise. That's all.
And so I want to repeat that. It's silvaultramind.com. And then they click on Silva Ultramind Systems, and then to click to listen to the centering exercise. Is that correct?
And it's free.
Wow. Thank you. So,
it's free.
And if you don't mind, before we jump into giving a short experience of this, you mentioned earlier, so it's the positive affirmation, I'm getting better and better. So reminding ourselves of that, and using, like you said, a trigger of when people ask us how we're doing, even if whether we say it out loud or just say it to ourselves in that moment. And also cancel when we notice a limiting thought pop up. And then you mentioned desire, belief, and expectancy or expectation. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. Desire, belief, and expectancy are the three ingredients for hope. Okay? People say, have hope. Have this, and you think, okay, how do you have hope? Well, in order for anything to work for you, first of all, you have to have a sincere desire to do whatever it is you want to do. Change something within yourself, change something within somebody else, do whatever the case might be. You have to have a sincere desire to make it work. Then believe. You have to believe in yourself that you can do it. If you start doubting yourself, it's not going to work. It's that simple. It's not going to work. And then you expect it to happen. Expect the change to come about. Okay. So those three ingredients are very important. Even like the secret. Okay. In the secret, the law of attraction. But if you're not in the right state of mind, it's not going to happen. Okay. You cannot be in the physical world projecting, I want this, I want that, and expect it to happen. You have to be in your meditative state of mind and then project what you want, and then they will materialize.
So I'm so appreciative that you're sharing this, and you're right. It's so simple when we learn about it. And so it's both desire and, belief and expectancy, as you said. So this is where the better and better is increasing the desire and, the belief in terms of releasing the doubt and gaining more expectancy, right? Really building that programming in our mind is really about, cancel, and especially in a meditative state when we're able to visualize what we want and change those patterns. And so I'm really excited now that you're going to give us an experience of this, of how to be able to do this for ourselves.
Okay. Are we ready to do it? Before I do the exercise, there's only one thing that I want to explain about the exercise. At one point, I want to ask you to go to your ideal place of relaxation, okay? What would be preferable is if you, in your life, ever experienced a time where you were totally, totally relaxed. When I get to that part, I want you to project yourself back to that same time and place. If you don't have one ideal place of relaxation, then create one. Maybe a walk on the beach, maybe a trip to Hawaii, maybe, I don't know, maybe a trip to the mountains. It's different for everybody, okay? So, and then I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to tell you that when I talk to you again, when you next hear my voice, 1 hour of time will have elapsed, okay? It won't be an hour. It's just so you don't anticipate hearing my voice. Otherwise, you'll wonder what's Sam doing, because when you reach the alpha level, there's no time and space at the alpha level. And 1 minute at alpha, well, let me put it this way. Researchers have said that 15 minutes at alpha is equivalent to 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, wow.
So if you spend 15 minutes at alpha, it would seem like you've been there 3 hours, okay? Because it slows the brain down.
So for those people who are not familiar yet with alpha, I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier. It's what I'm hearing, the green area. It's a more relaxed state than the kind of current wake state. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And we start the exercise with eyes closed. And why did Jose do it with eyes closed? Because what are we accustomed to do when we close our eyes? Sleep. Okay. So what happens the minute you close your eyes, the brain says, oh, we're going to sleep, so let's slow down.
Wonderful. Thank you. And of course, I know for those people who are listening while they're, driving or operating machinery or something like that, of course, clearly they'll want to pause and wait until they can be safe to relax and close their eyes.
Right. So listen to it, but don't close your eyes. Do it. Okay. So we're ready?
Yes. Thank you, Sam.
Okay. Let's do the exercise. We'll start this exercise with a 3-to-1 method. Find a comfortable sitting position. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 several times. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 several times. Take another deep breath, and while exhaling, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 several times. You are now at level 1, a deeper, healthier level of mind, where you can function from your center. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I am going to count from 10 to 1. On each descending number, you will feel yourself going deeper, and you will enter a deeper, healthier level of mind. 10, 9, feel going deeper. 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. 5, 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1. You are now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. You may enter a deeper, healthier level of mind by simply relaxing your eyelids. Relax your eyelids. Feel how relaxed they are. Allow this feeling of relaxation to flow slowly downward throughout your body, all the way down to your toes. It is a wonderful feeling to be deeply relaxed, a very healthy state of being. To help you enter a deeper, healthier level of mind, I am going to count from 1 to 3 and cause a sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation. I will then stop talking to you, and when you next hear my voice, 1 hour time will have elapsed at this level of mind. My voice will not startle you. You will take a deep breath, relax, and go deeper. 1, 2, 3. Project yourself mentally to your ideal place of relaxation until you hear my voice again. Relax. Relax. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, relax and go deeper. The following are beneficial statements that you may occasionally repeat at these levels of the mind. Repeat mentally after me. My increasing mental faculties are for serving humanity better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts bring me benefits and advantages I desire. I have full control and complete dominion over my sensing faculties. At this level of the mind and any other level, including the outer conscious level. And this is so. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5 and cause the sound with my fingers. At that moment, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. You will have no ill effects whatsoever in your head, no headache, no ill effects whatsoever in your hearing, no buzzing in your ears, no ill effects whatsoever in your vision and eyesight. Vision, eyesight, and hearing improve every time you function at this level of the mind. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3, at the count of 5, you will open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before, feeling the way you feel when you have slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy, wonderful sleep. 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before, feeling better, better, and better. And a good morning to y'all.
Wow.
How was that?
That was wonderful, Sam. My goodness, that was wonderful.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Wow. I'm pretty certain.
And that's just a sample, but I've always had good positive feedback on that short little exercise. Yeah.
I think, Sam, a lot of people live very stressed out lives and don't allow themselves a few minutes like you've given to us today. And when we do take a few minutes, we distract ourselves with TV or social media or something, and we don't really relax and allow ourselves to integrate, as you said, these different, 2 different hemispheres of our brains. So thank you for giving us a taste of that. And I know that our listeners can go to, once again, www.silvaultramind.com. I clicked on Silva Ultramind Methods and then access that centering exercise, the 20-minute. And it's so kind of you to offer that to us at no charge. I know a lot of work has gone into that, and without a doubt, that can help people to reprogram those unconscious patterns to increase the desire and lessen the doubt, so that they can have full expectancy and create exactly what they desire, which is available to all of us.
Absolutely. Yep.
So thank you, Sam.
And I just want to say, practice it at least once a day during the day in a sitting position with your eyes closed. And if you practice it for 7 days straight without falling asleep, then you can email me, and then I can guide you to do other things. Okay.
And how can people reach out to you? What is your email address?
My email address is Sam, SAMG Silva, SILVA, at yahoo.com.
So that's Sam Silva at yahoo.com. Silva.
Same
Yahoo.
G.
Yeah.
It's an abbreviated Sam Gonzalez Silva.
Thank you, Sam. And I also encourage our listeners, if they want to dive deeper, to attend some of your trainings. I, of course, as I mentioned, did. And I practiced a variety of different tools and techniques to be able to access that deeper consciousness, that deeper state, to rewire some unwanted belief systems. We all have them. That's pretty universal for all of us, no matter how successful, if you will, we are. So once again, thank you so much, Sam, for your time, for your compassion for all of us, for teaching us things that most of us were not taught in school or by our parents, because they didn't know that either.
They didn't know that. And thank you for having me. And my mission is to continue to carry Jose Silva's mission, and that is to help everybody in this on earth, to make this a better place to live in.
Well, I believe you did that today. And I imagine,
thank you.
Wherever he is, he's very proud of you.
Thank you.